your toes. Now with your left hand, reach out and grab your nose. Say yeah, do a high five with your friend. Up high, down low, too slow, let's go.
Hey y'all, and happy Memorial Day weekend, almost. Today we are going to be making some key lime bundt cake and some key lime cookies. I'm taking a lemon cookie recipe and adapting it to key lime. See how that works out. They're going to be two separate videos, so you'll see this intro on both of them. So if you're watching one, you're going to see it. If you watch the other, you're going to see this again. Today, I'm just going to take you a little walk around my garden again. So let me flip you around here. There we go. And you can see the blackberries are getting a lot of berries on them. So we're going to have a ton of those this year, so lots of blackberry jam. And our peaches are coming along. The little ones fell off, but the big ones are staying on there, so you can see I got a ton of peaches this year. And this little apple tree that I was going to pull out of the ground actually has bigger apples on it than the bigger trees, so we're doing good there. There's some more from the big tree. You can see they're a lot smaller. We just had a good rain. We've been in a drought here in South Carolina. There's some more. A couple of these apple trees are the Honeycrisp, and then a couple of them are the Granny Smiths. So I'm thinking just the Granny Smith are the ones that are producing apples this year. Let's see, isn't that pretty? My archway. And then I've got more over there. Next year I'm going to have to start my tomatillos in pots. I've got some tomatoes coming up here, but the tomatillos just are not coming up. So maybe I can find some at Lowe's if they even sell them. And then I put netting across here to protect my raspberries and blueberries, because they were getting eaten by the birds. So you can see how big my blueberries are getting. So I'll have some. I'm not going to have a lot this year. Hopefully next year there'll be more. Raspberries are doing really well. Let's see, they're producing. So I'll have some raspberry jam. Excuse the noise. They're doing yard work next door. Starting to get flowers on my pumpkin, but they're the male flowers. No female flowers yet. These up here are female flowers, but I have a feeling those will die off before they bloom. So hopefully we'll get some female flowers where I can pollinate them with a brush. There's my basil. Here's my tomatoes got kind of beat down with the rain, but these are the ones that have survived so far. Some oregano. And then my thyme and my rosemary. So that's the garden tour and the progress of it. Next year it'll be a lot better, because hopefully I won't have any kind of joint surgery like I've had every year the last 2 years, and I can go ahead and plant extra stuff. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video. Like, share, subscribe. We'll let you know how these turn out. I haven't made them before, but they look really good. So enjoy it, comment below, and we'll catch you on the next one. So here I have got my key limes that I didn't realize were this little. I thought key limes were as big as big limes, but they're not. They're tiny. So zesting these aren't a problem, but trying to juice them, it's like trying to milk a cat. They're so tiny, and some of them don't have a whole lot of juice in them. So it took, at this point, I didn't have my readers on, and when I looked at the recipe, I thought I needed a third of a cup of lemon juice. I'm sorry, key lime juice for the cake batter, but it was actually a quarter of a cup. So that was a little bit of a surprise, but still, I needed more for the glaze and more for the simple syrup. So it took forever for these. And I'm a big one on using fresh ingredients when I'm baking because I just think it makes a better product. But at this point, if I ever make this cake again, I'm gonna buy the bottled key lime juice because this took a long time to get these zested, to get any juice out of them. And these were 1 pound bags, and one pound bag got you about 3 tablespoons. So if I were you, I would get the key lime juice and use that. Get the key limes, just get a bag so that you can zest them and have that. You might need a couple of bags for the zest. Another thing you can do is maybe candy these. That might be good as a garnish. You know how you can candy lemon rinds? You might be able to candy these. Anywho, here I'm zesting a bunch of them because I'm going to make cookies in the next video for next week. So I just thought, let's just zest them all and get us all the zest that I needed. And so I put them in little baggies and labeled them, cake batter, cake glaze, cookies, garnish. But what I needed for the batter was 3 tablespoons of zest. For the lime syrup, which is a simple syrup with lime juice and lime zest, you need 2 tablespoons of zest. And then for the garnish, for the lime glaze, you need 3 tablespoons of zest. So you need quite a bit of zest in this. This recipe is it's not complicated. It's easy. It's just got a lot of steps. So it does take a while. Here's where I'm trying to juice these little things. I ended up getting maybe, can't even remember how much I got, but it was just enough to make the cake. So I went on Amazon and ordered the key lime juice. So for next week when I make the key lime cookies, I will use that. Because you can see this is a tedious job and my arm was killing me at the end of all this. So for the cake, you're going to need the 3 tablespoons of zest, and you're going to need a quarter of a cup of lime juice, not a third. You have to have readers. Put your readers on before you read a recipe, because it would have saved me a lot of time. I was thinking I needed a lot more than I did. Here I've taken 2 cups of sugar and the 3 tablespoons of zest, and I'm mushing it together with my fingers. This is getting the oils out, and it smells so good. And by the time you're finished, the sugar has like a lime green hue to it. But when you put the zest in, you'll see a bunch of clumps, so I just keep dipping my hand in and bringing it to the surface, and any large clumps I would break up so you didn't have a big clump of zest in your mouth when you took a bite of cake. And you wanted to get it all incorporated in the sugar. So this took a little bit, but take your time, do it right, and it'll give you a better product. So that's what we're doing here. Prior to this, I mixed my dry ingredients, which were 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, or you could use cake flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And I just whisk that together in a bowl. And we're going to add that to our wet ingredients here in a little bit. For the wet ingredients, it was 1 cup unsalted butter at room temperature, 4 large eggs, room temperature, a 1/2 cup of sour cream, room temperature, and a 1/2 cup of milk, room temperature. You want all your stuff to be room temperature when you mix it because you don't want to put cold batter in an oven. It's going to take forever to cook. If you have everything room temperature and you mix it all up and you put it in the oven, it's going to cook evenly and it will cook hopefully at the amount of time that the recipe calls for. Otherwise, you might end up with a mushy middle that's going to cook a lot slower than the outside of the cake. I didn't speed this up. I didn't cut things out with this because I wanted to see all the processes it took to make this cake. The cake was really good. Um, Very moist, it's tart and sweet, and it's just really, really good cake. It's a process. It's not hard, but it's a process. And you can see the sugar's getting a pretty green hue. And I'm just double checking, make sure I didn't have any extra big lumps in there. Make sure they were all broke up. And now after 2 hours, we get to make the cake. Had I used key lime juice from a jar or a container, it would have been like 5 minutes, but it was a couple hours getting all those little suckers prepped. So I took the 1 cup unsalted butter and I'm beating it for 2 minutes to get it nice and creamy. And then after that 2 minutes, I'm going to add the lime sugar that we just mixed up. We're beating this on medium speed using my paddle attachment. And after that minute, I'm going to scrape down the sides and then I'll add the lime sugar. Again, you always want to keep scraping down the sides so you get everything all incorporated. So I just dumped the lime sugar in, slowed down the beater so it didn't shoot everywhere. And after you get the sugar in, you'll want to beat it for about 2 minutes. Get it nice and creamy, fluffy. So while this was beating, I cracked my eggs and put them in a separate bowl because I'm going to add those one at a time. I always try to crack my eggs in a separate bowl just in case I get some shell in it. Then I can get the shell out easier so it's not going into the actual batter. It's going into the bowl where I can grab it and see it. So we scraped it down. We're mixing it some more. And here I'm adding the eggs one at a time. Get them blended in and add another one. I'm going to stop my mixer and knock some of this stuff down off the sides. And give it a mix. Make sure I get everything incorporated again. Here I'm adding my sour cream. So it's a half cup of sour cream at room temperature. Y'all, if you weigh your flour, it's 350 grams. Typically, I do weigh my flour, but I was so done after I did all those lines, I just scooped it out with a measuring cup. Adding my quarter cup of lime juice, getting that all mixed up. And now I'm going to scrape it down again. Give it another spin. And here in a minute, I'm going to add my cookie counter sheet for my dry ingredients. And I'm going to take those, the flour, the salt, the baking soda and baking powder that I whisked together earlier, and I'm going to add half of that to the bowl. Then mix it up. Then I'll add my milk, mix it up, and then add the other half of my dry ingredients. And just mix it so there's no more lumps. You know, you don't want to over mix it, add a bunch of air. If y'all are interested in one of these little dry ingredient sheets, this is, again, my favorite attachment for my KitchenAid because it hooks right on and the ingredients go straight down into the bowl. I don't even think it was that expensive, but I got it. I don't know if I got it on the Cookie Chemist website. I thought I got it off of Instagram, but anywho, it's a great purchase. It stays right next to my mixer at all times. So I mixed in the first half of the dry ingredients. I just added the milk, and now I'm going to add the second half of the dry ingredients. And you get to enjoy the top of my mixer while it's mixing because I forgot to turn the camera back down. And that little tree that's in my windowsill, my best friend got me that. And you take one of those off and it turns into a trivet for hot pots. And I saw those on Instagram. And of course, I quit buying stuff on Instagram because every time I do, it's just a flop. But she saw it and she got it to me. So it's a Cersei That's a Southern thing where you just get a present for your friend, just surprise them with a gift, just to have a gift. So we do that for each other every once in a while, and I love that thing. It's very handy and works very well. So if you see it on Instagram, I suggest you get it. So here I have my Nordic ware Bundt pan, which is a little bit larger than the other pan I have, which I think might be a Pampered Chef. I'm not sure. I like it because it has the handles on the side. It might be one of those pans I saw on Amazon and it had sides on it, so that or handles on it, so that's why I got it. They both work well, but in looking at my batter, I don't think I thought the Nordic ware was going to be too big, so I sprayed the inside of the pan with some vegetable spray, and then I'm going to flour it. The recipe calls to butter it and then lightly flour it. I hate buttering pans. I mean, it's messy. I never get it right. I miss a spot. Um, my cake still sticks. If I'm doing bread, I never butter my pan. I use parchment paper. And for this, I just sprayed it with my vegetable spray and then I floured it and it works perfect. You can get the bake, what is it? Baker's Joy, that spray flour. But lately, when I've been getting it, it kind of quits working on me and it just starts squirting out wet stuff. So I just use the vegetable spray and dust it myself. And then I'm just going to evenly spread this around in the Bundt pan. I have preheated my oven to 350 so that I can just pop this in. And you can see it's a thick batter. After I get this all in, I'll tap it on the surface of my counter just to get any air bubbles out and kind of even it out in the pan. I totally think had I used the key lime juice that you can buy online, I would have liked making this recipe a lot better. Because once I got past that point, the rest of it was easy. So I think it would have taken a lot shorter if had I done that, which I will next time. Because this was a good cake. I think I'll make it again. So I'm putting it in the oven. Recipe says it takes 45 to 65 minutes to bake. And if you notice your top's getting a little more done than the inside, it's not ready to come out, you can put a piece of tin foil on top to slow down. Or parchment, I always just cut a piece of parchment off and set it on top. That usually keeps that from happening. But this didn't happen with this. This cooked very well. It was like 45, 50 minutes. And came out really well. So here I'm making the simple syrup with that. So that's lime juice. It's half a cup of lime juice, a half a cup of sugar, and then 2 tablespoons of lime zest. And then you just bring this to a boil and cook it until all the sugar's dissolved. It's kind of hard to see because of the lime juice, and this is the key lime juice, all these little suckers that I juiced with my little juicer. I tried squeezing them, it didn't help. The juicer was the best thing, even though it was hard to do. I don't know if I like the lime zest in here or not. It added flavor, but I think it was too much because you've got lime zest in the cake. You got lime zest on the bottom of the cake when you pour this on top. You got lime zest in the glaze that you put on top. And I think maybe next time I might cut back on that so there's not so much of that cooked lime zest underneath the cake, because I think it gave it a little bit of a bitter taste every once in a while. Not every bite, but every once in a while, just, I don't know, maybe it was just too much lime zest. But the recipe called for 2 tablespoons that's what I put in there. I think I might cut it back to 1. So while the cake is cooking, that's when I put this together, and then I just put it to the side. So when the cake was done cooking, we're going to pour this on top of the cake before we take it out of the pan. And don't do what I'm doing. I walked away. I don't know what I was doing, but you want to stay and watch it real close so it doesn't burn. Mine didn't burn, luckily, but it's better just to sit there and keep stirring it and watching it, keep your eye on it. And you can see it's not as cloudy as it was earlier, so that sugar's gotten all dissolved. And all that. That's just lime zest floating around in there. So the cake is done. I shook it to see if it jiggled at all, which it didn't. And then I used my little cake tester and it came out clean. And then I used my thermometer to make sure I was at least 205 degrees, which I was. So it was done. This is one of the easiest bundt cakes I've made that actually cooked well. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fork now and I'm going to start poking holes in the top. So it's not like a poke cake where you're putting the big wooden spoon holes in it. You're going to use a fork and you're going to just do puncture holes. I went all the way down the tine so that when we poured this lime syrup over the top, it would get down into the cake. So I did that all around the cake, close to the edge, close to the center, in the middle. I thought I was going to use my pastry brush, but I didn't need it. I just poured everything on top. And I'm actually waiting 5 minutes. When you take it out of the oven, you want to wait 5 minutes, let it settle, and then take your fork and start poking holes in it. And it looks like I let the camera go for that 5 minutes. We're getting ready to um, go to the next frame to um, where we start poking the holes. Sorry about that. I missed this when I was editing it. I'm not going back to fix it, so we're just going to stare at the cake for a little bit. Y'all can speed it up, fast forward. I can't. I got to wait till we get to the next part. And here we go, hole poking time. So I'm taking that fork, going all the way down with it, and all around the cake. Taking it to the side, getting in the close to the center, but not like poking it through the side, just close to the side, close to the center. And now, just swirl that around. I'm going to pour it all around the cake. And it looks like a lot. And you think, oh, the cake's going to get soaked. It's going to get soggy. It doesn't. That simple syrup gets down in there and makes the cake moist. And on the top, it kind of, I don't know, while it's cooling, because we're going to let it sit here and cool for another 15 minutes, it, kind of gets a little dried out. So here, I'm just flipping it over. You can see how easy this thing came out, just with the vegetable oil and the flour. So now we're going to let it cool until it's completely cooled. And while it's cooling, oh, well, look at that. Here, let's do that again. So while it's cooling, we're going to make the glaze. And the glaze is 1 cup of sweetened condensed milk, 3 tablespoons of lime juice, and 3 tablespoons of lime zest. And you just whisk all of that together. Because look at me all prepared. I had to go get the lime juice. It was in the fridge. So 1 cup sweetened condensed milk, 3 tablespoons lime juice, 3 tablespoons lime zest. And then we're just going to whisk all that together. And I didn't put you can put the lime zest in here. This, mix it all together that way, or you can sprinkle it on top. I sprinkled it on top because I thought it looked pretty. So now we're just going to look at the top of my board here for a little bit, because I'm going to get the lime zest out of the refrigerator. Because what I did is I took it and spread it out on a plate just to kind of let it dry out and not be so clumpy when I sprinkled it on top of the cake. I don't even think I used the whole 3 tablespoons of zest. I think I only took about 2 tablespoons to sprinkle on top of the cake. And here's the cake that's not in the center of the frame, but I'm going to start taking the glaze and just spoon it over the top. And then you just kind of move it side to side so it kind of dribbles down the side. You want to do this on a completely cooled cake because if your cake's warm, this will all melt off and end up in the bottom of the plate. And I pretty much used all of this glaze. Just did it evenly around. It's good. You think it's going to be too sweet, but it wasn't. It really kind of cuts the sweetness of the cake. And now I'm just going to sprinkle this zest on top. So I'm storing this in the refrigerator just because it has a condensed milk glaze and very, very moist cake. This cake was wonderful. Like I said, lots of processes, but I think you will cut your time in half just by getting key lime juice that's already in a bottle. And that's what I will do next time. So I'm going to show you a picture of the finished product. It is very pretty, very summery. And then we'll show you where we cut it and plated it up. I didn't do any baking for my micro bakery business this week or next week because it's a holiday and we're doing a vacation next week. So I took some over to my neighbors so they can tell me what they thought about it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's long, but like, share, subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one.